Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to race number 4 of Season 5 of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series as we get ready to cap off what's been a really exciting weekend here at Bristol Dirt, getting ready for the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're under the lights, getting ready to go dirt track racing for 80 laps. And who is going to add their name to the list of Chris Dodd, Sean Gallighan, and rookie Alex Drayton as a winner here in Season 5 last week? Unbelievable. We had our first rookie win this season in only the 3rd race of the year. Alex Drayton turning a lot of heads. Tonight, we're at a dirt track. Anything can happen, and maybe anything will happen. We'll see if we have a fourth different race winner and maybe another driver that puts themselves in the hunt for one of the 16 slots in this season's chase for the Hersheys Cup Series Championship. 80 laps, as I mentioned, and Emmanuel Hartnett lines up on the pole position. Emmanuel Hartnett has 3 career wins here in the Hersheys Cup Series. His second career win came at Eldora, our dirt track, so we'll have to keep an eye on him here tonight. In the 4 seasons that he's running Hersheys Cup Series, he's had at least 1 win in 3 of those seasons. So he will have his Toyota on the pole position alongside of L Alvarise in the 08. Alvarise coming into this race 24th in points. Hartnett coming in 12th in the standings, so both drivers obviously with different goals. Alvarise trying to get a win to get himself closer towards the top 10 in points, and Emmanuel Hartnett, if he wins tonight, he would probably most definitely move into the top 10 in the standings. Row 2, you got J Shelton coming into this race 22nd in points, had a great run at Las Vegas last week, and alongside of her is B Allan in the 3. B Allan comes into this race 14th in the standings, had a pretty decent run at Vegas as well, so a couple of drivers trying to pick up some momentum. And then you got K Mathews. K Mathews looked like he was going to win last week at Las Vegas. After the cyclo green flag pit stops, he was way out in front, but then a late race caution caused them all to bunch back up, and by the time they crossed the start-finish line, K Mathews was no longer the leader when the checkered flag waved, so he's looking for some redemption here tonight. I guarantee you about that. We'll give you your top 10 the point standings in just a moment coming into tonight's race, but with 80 laps of racing, these drivers are maybe, and I don't know for certain, but they may be having to think about pit stops. And I don't think, in the time that we've run here at Bristol Dirt, I don't think we've ever actually had a round of green flag pit stops. So I don't know if we're actually going to see that or not. 80 laps at a half-mile track, I don't think the fuel window is going to be less than 80 laps, but then again, you never know. So we may end up seeing a very first take place here in the Hersheys Cup Series at Bristol Dirt. But without further ado, we are moments away from getting those famous words in motorsports, so why don't we go down trackside and get them right now.
Drivers, start your engines!
Very enthusiastic command here tonight at Bristol Dirt. Going to give you your top 10 in points presented by Golden Corral. J Bryant is now the new points leader overall by 8 points over K Tellier. Trent Dunham is 3rd in the standings. Benjamin Miles in 4th, and Alex Drayton with his win last week jumped 23 spots to 5th. 6th is Caleb Farrell, so we got 2 rookies up inside the top 10. Sean Gallighan, our winner from Rio, is 7th. J Arndt in 8th. K Mathews is 9th, and B Gonzales dropped 6 spots last week, but he still is 10th in the point stand. Some of the drivers that we'll be looking at that'll jump in, we'll tell you those in just a minute as we get ready to go racing. The Food City 500 at Bristol is green. Let's roll! And some of those drivers that are just outside of the top 10 looking in: Joshua Michaels, Polster, Emmanuel Hartnett, Daniel Gilbert, B Allan, J Richardson. We'll keep an eye on all those drivers during the course of this race as they are 3 wide back there already. Mathews moves from 5th up to 2nd in 1 lap, now hounding Hartnett for the race lead. Teammate J Shelton right there as well as Mathews forges a hole to the inside. He will clear for the top position. Shelton wasn't quite close enough to be able to fill the gap on the inside. Now she gets there as Hartnett goes way wide through turns 1 and 2. Into the wall goes the 83. Keeps them together though. Shelton now moves to 2nd. It's 1-2 for the Retro Racing Enterprises Chevrolets. Look at J McCloud. There's a driver that really needs a good run. He has had some dismal finishes in the past couple of weeks. He's 34th in the point standings, and now he's trying to fight his way up here to the front, right behind Benjamin Miles. 4 wide here at Bristol Dirt. McCloud, Miles, Hartnett, and Shelton. They're still 4 wide as they cross the line. McCloud will pass them all. And Hartnett gets into the wall again. That's the second time he's hit the wall. As McCloud moves to second, here comes Daniel Guilbert there in the 4. He's going to go for third place off Benjamin Miles. Caution flag is out. I think they took it. Yellow flag out for the first time here tonight, but man, they were 4 wide and saved it, and someone just turned Charles Sandfer in the back. Sandfer just got turned into the inside wall. I don't know who it was that turned him. Looks like he's going to be able to continue, but he's got rear end damage now and left side damage. Someone just hooked him off turn 2. We might get an idea of who. Maybe there might be some retaliation here. Who was he in front of? Was he in front of McCrury? It might have been Anthony McCrury that turned him. And nope, we're not going to get green flag pit stops. We're going to get yellow flag pit stops. So apparently they couldn't make it the full 80 laps on fuel. They all come to pit road here under this first caution. So while they make these pit stops, let's take a look at a replay, and it looks like we're going to have a new race leader. Blaine Keys decides to stay out, along with Garrett Sydnor and Joshua Michaels. So we'll have a different looking top 5 when we come back, but let's take a look at what put us under the caution for the first time here tonight at Bristol. Well, here's where the incident starts. J Gardner, 3 wide with Anthony McCrury, L Alvarise, and K Llamas. He's going to slide up the track, going to clip the 48 of Llamas, who also gets up and into the fence. And, ooh, little contact there, passenger side for Alex Drayton. And then coming into view right there is Tim Walsh in the 15. He's going to avoid the 55, but he's not going to avoid the 48, who slides back right down into traffic. Boy, Tim Walsh been a dismal last couple of races for him. Had that engine failure at Rio de Janeiro. Didn't have a good run last week at Las Vegas, and now finds himself with a lot of damage after running into the back of the spinning 48. So that's what put us under the caution for the first time here tonight. Let's go back to green. Well, actually, before we do, I wanted to look at this incident involving Charles Sandfer off turn 2 when they were getting ready to slow down for pacing. And yeah, it was Anthony McCrury that got into the Reese Chevrolet. Turns him down into the wall, and McCrury did get some left side damage as a result as well on his Dishonored 2 Chevrolet. I'm not exactly sure what that was all about. I do know that McCrury and Sandfer were very close to each other around the time that J Gardner spun and lost his race car. I don't know if the two had made contact earlier on here in the first few laps of this race, and McCrury didn't appreciate it or what that was. But Charles Sandfer getting hooked around here, and now he's got some damage, so we'll have to see if that affects him for the remainder of this race. Lights are out top the pace car. We'll get ready to go back green. A number of drivers spent a little bit of extra time on pit road repairing damage, and they will be restarting off the lead lap. Just saw K Llamas and Zachary Fitzwater leaving pit lane. I think they'll actually restart ahead of the leader, but behind the pace car, there is a couple more drivers. Baskinger, Chris Dodd, Dylan Poteet, Quentin Moore, K Batson, all leaving pit road. They got Chris Dodd and Baskinger scored on the lead lap, and all these drivers, I don't know where they're all going to be. Green flag's back out with a very messed up looking start, and I think that was just a pass for the race lead right there. I think McIntosh kind of jumped it. Now they haven't scored 31st. So was Keys actually the race leader? I don't know. I think Kev Shearer might be the race leader now, and boy, I'm all confused. Caution's out though. So all these drivers that were on the tail end of the lead lap just ahead of the leaders, they're going to get back on the lead lap. Yellow flag back out for the second time, and I'm not the least bit surprised. That was one of the more jumbled starts I think I've ever seen. That was an extremely confusing looking restart. Everybody trying to scramble to get up there before the green flag came out, and I don't think anyone was aware of what position they were in. So Kev Shearer leads us under our second caution. And boy, that even confused me. So as we're under yellow for the second time tonight, let's take a look and see what happened. And hopefully by the time we get the green flag next time, everybody will have figured out where they are, and we'll have a more organized looking start. Well, like I said, the start was really jumbled. A lot of drivers got really good starts because they were all up to full speed, and J Richardson just drives it into the corner, takes out Daniel Guilbert, and then also it's going to take K Mathews, and Mathews actually gets stuck up into the outside wall, and the car flips upside down. And there you see Cole Baker and Trent Dunham all having to come to a stop to avoid running into this. So K Mathews and Daniel Guilbert, who were both having good runs here tonight, they're involved. They just got completely wiped out by the 11 of J Richardson. I mean, to be honest, I'm not surprised something like this happened because, like I said, that was one of the most jumbled up looking starts I've ever seen. Certain drivers were going the pace speed, certain drivers were going full speed, and it's just not good when you're doing something like that, especially at a dirt track where there's really no grip to be able to do something like that with the different speeds. So that's to put us under caution for the second time tonight. An early end of the evening for K Mathews and Daniel Guilbert, two drivers that were running well in the points coming into tonight's race. Mathews was 9th in points, Daniel Guilbert 13th in points. So it looks like Bristol Dirt is definitely playing its factor into shaking up the points heading into next week at Atlanta. And we have not gotten the 1 to green signal yet. I think we might just... Nope, we haven't gotten it, so thank goodness. I'm going to take this opportunity before we go back green to try and settle this out and figure out where everybody is. Kev Shearer is officially the leader of this race. Garrett Sydnor is scored in 2nd, Nathan Hudson 3rd, 4th Anthony McCrury, 5th Charles Sandfer. 6th place is Blaine Keys, Sean Gallighan 7th, Caleb Farrell 8th, J Bryant 9th, and Dylan Young is 10th. Now a number of drivers got back on the lead lap after that caution coming out, including Quentin Moore, Dylan Poteet, Cody Smart, J Arndt, Dallas McIntosh, K Tellier, Joshua Michaels. I'm being told Trent Dunham is now out of the race. That's a driver that came in 3rd in points. Don't know what happened to him. The cars officially off the lead lap right now are Alex Drayton, Cody Llamas, Zachary Fitzwater, Brooke Allen, Jessica Shelton, L Alvarise, Emmanuel Hartnett, and J Richardson. And we got Trent Dunham, Daniel Guilbert, K Mathews, and Tim Walch out of the race. I don't know what happened to the 1 of Trent Dunham. But that's another driver running well in the point standings. He's going to have an early end to the night here at Bristol. So we get ready to go back green on lap 15. I also didn't mention what the stages were tonight. They are 20, 20, and 40, so we are going to have about 6 laps to go here in our first stage. The green flag is back out here at Bristol. Kev Shearer would love to have lightning strike twice and have a rookie go to victory lane 2 weeks in a row. Shearer coming into this race mired way down in the point standings. He's 38th out of the 39 drivers. He's also last of the drivers in the rookie points, 7 points back from current points leader Caleb Farrell. Garrett Sydnor right behind him. Sydnor knows how to win at this racetrack. He went to victory lane here 1 year ago and lining up there in the 2nd place. Got Anthony McCrury there in 3rd, Nathan Hudson there in 4th. There's a couple other drivers that really could use good runs here tonight. McCrury is 37th in points and Nathan Hudson is dead last in the standings. Battle for the lead may be on here momentarily. Sydnor to the inside of Kev Shearer for the top position. And this, of course, is a battle as well to maybe win this stage. A playoff point in the chase for the championship on the line. Crossover by Kev Shearer. He's back to the inside of the 38. And I'm seeing some drivers starting to work their way up here towards the front. How about the 99 of Levi McIntyre? He's up to 6th. And now trying to catch Charles Sandfer for 5th place. Next time by at the line is the completion of this stage. Sydnor way up the track. Here comes McCrury for 2nd place. Looks like Kev Shearer will win the first stage of the night. And I believe that's his first stage win of his career here in the Hersheys Cup Series. Sydnor, though, not giving up. He's going to try and catch back up to Kev Shearer. He's got Anthony McCrury right behind him. And now the caution flag comes out for the 3rd time here tonight at Bristol. I think what we'll do is not only look and see what brought out the caution. That was Joshua Michaels stopped right in front of the leaders. No wonder the leaders almost went into a slide slamming on the brakes. Michaels, who comes into this race in the top 5 in the point standings, or actually made a top 10, 11th in the standings. He's involved in this one, and I think what we're going to do is not only look and see what brought out the caution here, but also try and find out what put Trent Dunham back behind the wall. As it looks like Kev Shearer is going to come to pit road this time, along with Garrett Sydnor. Is anyone going to stay out? Looks like we got to go all the way back to Dylan Poteet. Poteet will restart the race as the leader in the 31 car. So for now, let's take a look at a replay of what brought out this, our 3rd caution of the evening at Bristol. Well, here's what took Trent Dunham out of the race. We didn't see this, but J Gardner slow during the pacing. Trent Dunham, I don't know if he didn't realize the 55 was not... Oh, the 55 just came to a stop. And Trent Dunham just not able to get on the brakes quickly enough here. There's not really a whole lot of brake bias when you're on a dirt-surfaced racetrack, and he ran into the back of J Gardner, and that was too much damage for them to be able to continue. So that's what took Trent Dunham, who came into this race third in the point standings, out of tonight's event. Now let's see what happened to Joshua Michaels. Here he is to the inside of Cole Baker. Oh, and the car just steps out on him. The cold tires, the car just goes up, sweeps up, and collects Cole Baker. And you see back further, Cody Smart also had his car step out from underneath him, and then he gets clobbered by the 48 of K Llamas. And he then slides up, Llamas does, into Baker. And I think that's where we saw the smoke lingering from the 12 and the 48. And then Emmanuel Hartnett just squeaks through. And I think those were the only drivers that were involved. There you see the race leaders coming in. And Joshua Michaels had to come to a stop, waiting for the 48 to vacate that particular area of the track. And watch, as soon as K Llamas disappears, there's the race leaders just barely squeezing between Michaels and that pit wall entrance. That was really, really close. We nearly had a number of our race leaders pile into the tail end of that wreck. So we should be getting the 1 to green signal this time. Now Joshua Michaels and J Shelton are currently on the tail end of the lead lap, but they are behind the pace car, so they will actually restart on the high side ahead of the race leader, which is Dylan Poteet. Chris Dodd is in second. Third place, J McCloud. Then it's Blaine Keys, Charles Sandfer for the top 5, with Nathan Hudson, Kev Shear, Anthony McCurry, Levi McIntyre, and Matt Haas. That's your top 10. Keith Batson and Caleb Farrell line up on the inside line there. They are off the lead lap, along with Brooke Allen, L Alvarise, Emmanuel Hartnett, Zachary Fitzwater, Alex Drayton, and Cole Baker. Benjamin Miles appears to be a lap down as well. Green flag back out, as out of the race after that incident were Cody Smart and Cody Llamas. Car on pit road there, that's Keith Batson in the 39, as Dylan Poteet out in front and having to deal with traffic. Oh my goodness gracious. Nearly getting wrecked there by Fitzwater. All these drivers up ahead of Poteet trying to stay on the lead lap and hoping for a quick yellow. 4 wide is now Poteet up in the middle, going by Brooke Allen. Look at the contact these drivers are making. McCloud now moves into second, bypassing Chris Dodd. Hudson trying to take third, and they're 3 wide, 4 wide back there for second place. It's hard to tell who's on the lead lap and who isn't. The 31's on the lead lap, the 29, the 51, the 88 are all on the lead lap, and we nearly had Sandfer and McCrury wreck again. That would have been interesting. The second time tonight these two have made contact with each other as somebody just hit pit road. That was J Shelton. And here comes a potential battle for the race lead. Nathan Hudson, Chris Dodd, they have caught Dylan Poteet. Will they be able to make a move for the race lead? Dodd to the inside of Hudson, that's for second. Now trying to clear the 29, set his sights on the 31 of Poteet. He will get there as his car got really squirrely off of 4. Now Poteet trying to put Joshua Michaels down a lap. Chris Dodd right behind him. So hard to tell who's who here right now. A whole cluster of drivers all through this field. Some on the lead lap, some a lap down, some multiple laps down. Right now it is Dylan Poteet out in front. Chris Dodd trying to take the race lead away from him, trying to pick up his second win of the season after winning the Daytona 500. As this battle is going on, here's the battle for third. You got McIntyre, McCloud, Hudson, McCrury, as well as K Tellier in this group. And McIntyre will move into third place. Meanwhile, Poteet trying to get by the lap machines. He now will move to the inside of Benjamin Miles. Just bypassed his rookie teammate, last week's winner, Alex Drayton. And here comes Chris Dodd. Might have a fender to the inside. Not quite, as now he'll clear Benjamin Miles. Now here comes Chris Dodd with the run out of turn 4. Half a car length Poteet led that lap, but now the inside line advantage goes to the IKEA Chevrolet. And Chris Dodd will clear for the race lead. McCrury now moves into third place, bypassing Levi McIntyre, and now Benjamin Miles wants his lap back from Chris Dodd. Look at Poteet, will he force the issue up the middle, 3 wide? Yes, he will! Poteet trying to get this victory from Chris Dodd and willing to do anything to be able to do so. They'll now pass the slower car of J Gardner. Chris Dodd gets held up behind the 55. Here comes McCrury. He'll take second place now. McCrury to second. Dodd back to third. Good battle going on for fourth. K Tellier to the bottom. Levi McIntire in the middle. They're the two battling for that spot. Then you got McCloud back there in sixth, Hudson in seventh, and how about the points leader, J Bryant? Where did he come from? He's up to eighth place, with John R. and Charles Sandfer completing your top 10. Now make it Matt Haas and Charles Sandfer. McIntire has to give way. Tellier's going to take over the fourth position. Both trying to run down Chris Dodd now for third. McCrury there in second, trying to reel in Dylan Poteet. He's trying to get by Caleb Farrell. Then he has to deal with the lap car Benjamin Miles. Miles, though, going to try and get to the inside of Poteet. They may be three wide going here into three. Nope. Oh, my goodness. How about a shove right there by McCrury into Miles. And now McCrury's going to get to the inside of Poteet. And I think Poteet led the lap, so Poteet's going to win the second stage, but now McCrury goes to the race lead. Halfway through this race, 40 laps left to go, and what a race we have had so far. We've had a number of cautions to get to this point, but man, the racing up front has been incredible, with lap cars interspersed all the way through the top 10. McCrury now trying the outside line against Benjamin Miles. That's not going to work. Poteet tries the middle groove out of four. Now he'll cross over to the inside of McCrury, and he'll take the top position back. But as these two have battled, Chris Dodd and Levi McIntire are starting to get back up into the fray. Dodd will go to second. McIntire goes to third as McCrury is left rim riding on the top side with Caleb Farrell to the bottom. Poteet showing the way, and now the battle for second is on. Levi McIntire to the inside of Chris Dodd. McCrury there in fourth. Fifth place under contest as well. K Tellier has it. Nathan Hudson wants it. Chris Dodd now kicked way up to the high side. He'll not only lose second to Levi McIntire, he'll lose third to Anthony McCrury, maybe more. K Tellier now to the bottom of the racetrack. She's going to try and take the fourth position, can't quite get there. Hudson right there as well in sixth place, waiting to see what line opens up. Meanwhile, side by side for second, McCrury to the inside of McIntire. All this going on currently behind the race leader, Dylan Poteet. Dylan Poteet, Anthony McCrury, former chasers from last season. McIntire won last year, but he didn't win in time to make the chase. K Tellier looking for her first win since season 2. Chris Dodd trying to be a two-time winner, lock himself automatically a spot in the chase for the championship after winning the Great American Race Daytona 500. Battle for the lead back on again. Anthony McCrury to the inside, Poteet on the outside. All this going on with a lot of lap cars behind them, a lot of drivers on the tail end of the lead lap just ahead of them, including Emmanuel Hartnett, Benjamin Miles, and Quentin Moore. McCrury to the point. He'll take the lead and now tries to put Emmanuel Hartnett down a lap. K Tellier moving into second place. She'll get by Dylan Poteet coming off turn number 4, or turn number 2 rather. And now she's going to set her sights on the Dishonored 2 Chevrolet. Meanwhile, further back, Chris Dodd there in 4th, Levi McIntire in 5th, Hudson in 6th. And now up to 7th place is J Bryant. New leader, K Tellier will get by Anthony McCrury. We've talked about it all last season, all this season so far. Lincoln is still looking for their first points-paying win in a Hersheys Cup Series event. Could tonight be the night? Slow car of J Gardner might be in the way. Anthony McCrury going to use that as a pick as he'll try to get to the left rear of the Aussie Lincoln Continental. Can't quite do it yet. Now tries to get the run through 3 and 4. Anthony McCrury trying to pick up his first win of this season. Former champion back in season 1. Meanwhile, Chris Dodd has moved into 3rd place as Dylan Poteet kind of got boxed in, I think, behind J Gardner. He's not only lost 3rd to Chris Dodd, but now he's lost 4th place to Levi McIntire, about to drop outside the top 5. Nathan Hudson going to move by for that position. behind them. You got a good battle going on here. J Arndt has now fought his way up into 7th, bypassing J McCloud. Trouble for J Bryant! And Bryant's off the racetrack and on pit road. Bryant was running at the time in the 7th position. Problems for the points leader. He had to teleport to pit lane. We're still green though. He was able to get to pit road safely. We do not have the yellow flag come out. But what a tough break for JT Bryant. I have to assume some kind of mechanical problem, maybe overheating. I don't know what the case was, but the guy who came in as the points leader and was running in the top 10 looks like he may finish out of this race. Also, one thing that I mentioned here when I talked about the top 10 coming into this race, and I didn't really look back and realize who's battling for this race lead, K Tellier. I mean, we talk about her trying to get her first wins in season 2. Trying to get Lincoln their first points paying win in the Hersheys Cup Series, but she's also trying to take the points lead. Came in 8 points behind JT Bryant, and now with Bryant having the issues that we just saw, K Tellier could very well be heading into Atlanta as the leader of the points series in the Hersheys Cup Series. She'll take the lead now after a good side-by-side battle for the last couple of laps with Anthony McCrury, and this time by at the line, it is 20 laps to go here at Bristol. I may be selfish, but I hope that this thing finishes under green because this is shaping up to be a great finish. Meanwhile, you've got 3rd and 4th place. Levi McIntyre, Nathan Hudson trying to catch up to these two, and if these two keep battling, there may be 4 or 5 drivers up here to battle for this win. McIntyre and Hudson been battling for that 3rd spot last couple of laps, and now they're battling again. Hudson will take the podium spot. McIntyre slipping back to 4th, and now he's got a lap car and Emmanuel Hartnett that has blocked up that inside line. Looks like he'll get by the 99 as well. Meanwhile, McCrury, they've been swapping this lead back and forth like it's a terrible sandwich. Anthony McCrury now back to the top position, K Tellier back to 2nd, but they've been playing cat and mouse. One seems to be the cat one lap, the other one seems to be the cat the next lap, and neither one has really been able to show that they can hold off the other once the one gets to their left rear quarter panel. Both cars seem to be on very equal stations in terms of power, in terms of mobility, that's a word now. And there you see, Tellier drives it deep there through 3 and 4 and gets alongside. You watch, McCrury's going to try and battle back on the high side, but there's really not much he can do. Once one of these two drivers has the inside advantage, they very easily make the pass for the lead. There you see it, K Tellier edges out by half a car length, and she will more than likely clear McCrury coming down here out of turn number 2. And indeed she does. As these two battle, I thought that the gap between 2nd and 3rd would close up a bit, but it hasn't really. It's remained somewhere between 1 second to 1.2 seconds. This last time by, it actually grew about 8 1/1000ths. McCrury back to the bottom of the racetrack for K Tellier. And you got to think, are these two showing each other their hands a little too early? I mean, they've both been able to put some slingshot moves on each other, but wouldn't it be smart if you know you're capable of passing the driver ahead of you to maybe just ride behind that driver for a little bit? Let them think that you can't pass them and then surprise them a little bit closer to the end of this race, as now K Tellier has some issues with J Gardner. That's going to lose her some ground in the 61. Let's follow this battle for 3rd because that 55 could come into play in this as well. Caleb Farrell going to get around Nathan Hudson, and now Farrell will open the door down low for them all to be able to get through. So J Gardner not going to be an issue, at least for 3rd and 4th, and now McCrury has about a half-second advantage between himself and K Tellier. Let's see if the gap closed or grew by another 10th. Oh, trouble up ahead! Benjamin Miles has blown up right in front of the leader. We're still green. I don't think oil's going to put much of a problem here at a dirt track. They're slipping and sliding anyways. But trouble for Benjamin Miles, who came in 4th in points. They're dropping like flies. JT Bryant with a mechanical problem. Benjamin Miles now with an engine failure. Trent Dunham out of the race. Alex Drayton is several laps down. Caleb Farrell is a lap down. Only drivers that look like they're going to have a really good points day coming out of this. They came in top 10 in points. It'd be K Tellier, J Arndt, and I don't know where S Gallighan's running. He's in 14th, so he'll have a pretty good points day. Anthony McCrury has now opened up the gap every single lap, and next time by, it's 5 laps to go. Can K Tellier do anything to catch the 61? It was shaping up to be a good battle between those two, but the slower lap machine of J Gardner appeared to hold up K Tellier quite a bit. Quentin Moore is up to speed. He is, I believe, on the tail end of the lead lap. Yes, he is in 19th place. I don't think he's going to be much of a hindrance for Anthony McCrury. They're both catching Alex Drayton, though, who appears to be a little bit slower, so Drayton could play a factor, last week's winner, into allowing K Tellier to close up some distance if McCrury can't get by him easily, but McCrury very easily gets to the bottom, fills in the hole made by Quentin Moore, and now will put a slower lap machine between himself and K Tellier. And J Arndt's on pit road with 2 laps to go. J Arndt was running up inside the top 10, and now he's on pit lane. Is there going to be pit strategy here? There's another car on pit road. That's Blaine Keys. Looks like some drivers couldn't make it on fuel. White flag displayed, though, for Anthony McCrury one more time around this half-mile racetrack. I think he can make it. He could coast if he wanted to, but some drivers couldn't make it the scheduled distance on fuel and are going to have pretty dismal finishes as a result, but McCrury will win the Food City 500 here tonight at Bristol Dirt. The Season 1 champion winning here tonight at the short track. That car doesn't look like a winning race car. Damage on the left, damage on the side, damage on the hood. Think about it, he had that turn of Charles Sandfer under one of our yellows. Adventurous night, but Anthony McCrury will come away with the victory, and talk about a driver that really needed a good run as well. We talked about McCrury 37th in the points. This was definitely a well-needed run for that team out of Seth Cole Baker Motorsports, and Seth Cole Baker Motorsports now in our first 4 races of the season have won 2 of them. Gallighan won at Rio a couple of weeks ago, and now McCrury wins here tonight at Bristol Dirt. K Tellier, boy, I think she's going to really wish that she had had that chance to pass J Gardner back, because didn't quite get around him as quickly as McCrury did and has to settle for second. Levi McIntyre, great run here for him in third. And how about Nathan Hudson? That's another driver that really needed a good finish here tonight. He'll finish in 4th after coming into tonight's race dead last in the points. Dylan Poteet, nice to see him running up at the front as he gets 5th after leading a few laps here tonight. Chris Dodd, after winning the Daytona 500, we really didn't see all that great a performance out of him the last couple of weeks, as he finished a lap down at Rio. He finished way in the back at Las Vegas, so great run here for him tonight in 6th. Garrett Sydnor, 1 year ago he won this race. I think he likes the dirt tracks, especially Bristol Dirt. He'll finish 7th here this evening. Matt Haas, great run for him as he finishes in 8th. Didn't really talk much about the 78 car here tonight. Came in 18th in the point standings, and the defending champion with a top 10 run. J McCloud, there's another driver that really needed a good run. You got McCrury, you got Hudson, and you got McCloud. Nice to see all 3 of those drivers get good finishes tonight, as McCloud came into this race situated in the 34th position in points. Garrett Sydnor as well was 35th in points. So nice to see a lot of drivers that needed good runs getting good runs here this evening, as McCloud, the former chaser from last season, gets 9th. And Charles Sandfer, despite getting intentionally turned under caution by Anthony McCrury, he's going to be able to salvage a top 10 finish. How about Zachary Fitzwater? He was a lap down at one point in this race. Was able to get a caution, get back on the tail end of the lead lap. He'll finish 11th this evening. S Gallighan's going to bring it home in 12th, with J Baskinger 13th. Highest finishing rookie tonight is Kev Shearer. He was also the only rookie to be out in front for a couple of laps this evening. Dylan Young will finish in 15th, and Brandon Gonzales was the last car to finish on the lead lap in the 16th position. Everybody else finished a lap down, whether it was due to lengthy pit stops under caution or not being able to make it to the checkered flag on fuel. You got Quentin Moore in 17th, Caleb Farrell 18th, 19th Joshua Michaels, Brooke Allen in 20th, 21st was L Alvarise, Dallas McIntosh in 22nd, Blaine Keys, Emmanuel Hartnett, J Arndt, all those drivers, they had to come to pit road in the closing stages of the race for fuel. They will finish in 23rd, 24th, and 25th. J Gardner finished multiple laps down in 26th. Keith Batson had several trips to pit road under caution and under green. He finishes 3 laps down in 27th. Alex Drayton, after his win last week, he'll finish 28th. And the last 2 cars to finish the race were J Shelton and Cole Baker. We saw Benjamin Miles' car blow up with a few laps to go. He finishes 31st due to a header issue. J.T. Bryant, he finished out of the race after running inside the top 10 at the time when a camshaft went wrong. Cody Smart and Cody Llamas, we saw them get involved in our third caution of the evening. They finished 33rd and 34th. Trent Dunham got damaged under a stack-up under pacing. He finishes out of the race in 35th. No fuel for James Richardson. Very interesting that was the reason he was out of the race, but he, Daniel Gilbert, and K Mathews were our second caution of the evening. They all finished out of the race 36th, 37th, and 38th, and Tim Walsh was involved in our first caution of the night, and he finishes out of the race in the 39th position. So no doubt about it, we are definitely going to have a point shakeup after this race. A lot of drivers way down in the point stands getting good runs. A lot of drivers way up in the point stands getting terrible runs. But K Tellier with her second place finish will undoubtedly be the points leader heading into next week. Next week we've got Tax Layer Truck Series, Pizza X Series, and Hersheys Cup Series action coming your way from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Going to be a very fun race at the 1.5 mile D-shaped speedway. High speeds, 3 wide action, and it should be very interesting to see what the continuation of this season brings. We've had a very interesting looking field so far, putting themselves into potential slots in the chase for the championship for Tax Layer Truck Series, Pizza X Series, and here as well in the Hersheys Cup Series. Now, so far, we've got Chris Dodd, Sean Gallighan, Alex Drayton, and Anthony McCrury, who all have themselves bids to be in one of those 16 slots to battle for the championship this season. 2 of these drivers are former champions, and 3 of these drivers are former Daytona 500 winners. So we'll see what happens as we continue on next week in Atlanta. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race from Bristol Dirt. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results. These are your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, Offline Racing at its best. Good night from Bristol.